All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we are live in full effect, and right here, right now, it is the first night of the 3 nights of South Park Coalition, and we got the one, the only, Murder One, live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, man, I'm doing fine. I'd like to appreciate you giving me the opportunity, the chance to get down with you today, man.
Hey, man, you are most certainly welcome, but I gotta thank you, Murder One. Like, I think when we first talked, I mentioned this to you as well. Like, I grew up on South Park Coalition, man, so it's an honor just to be able to have you on my platform, so thank you.
Thank you, man. It's a blessing to keep doing what we're doing, you know?
But I gotta ask you, Murder One, because I know like you're such a talented individual and you're part of one of the biggest hip-hop coalitions of all time. But I have to ask you, like, what actually made you venture into the music industry to begin with?
Well, you know, it started way back, man. You know, my parents, well, my father, he was always playing back then the organs and guitars and things like that. Then, you know, the Melly Mills and the Sugar Hill Gangs came and the Rock MC. So I gravitate to the jukebox, I guess the Walkman box we called back then. You know, Radio Raheem, wearing the radio on my shoulder, walking down the street. And just doing that, listening to music, and one guy came and asked me, he said, "Man, you got a nice voice, do you want to be in a rap group?" Something I never knew about, never even thought about, and it started from there. My boy, Victor Slick, better known as Jeff today, turned me on into this game I'm in now for longevity.
And that's actually pretty extraordinary, you know. You were just walking down the street, vibing to your music, and next thing you know, some guy came along and was like, "Hey, man, I like your voice." That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was, man, because, you know, I was just loving the music. You know, like I said, I didn't know right on the next street there was a DJ and an MC, you know, doing recording and doing music. And I was just, you know, just walking down the street doing basic things everyday people do, listening to music and going crazy over the music.
Do you think that, like, I gotta ask, because this just popped in my head, but do you think that, you know, say if you would have left your Walkman at home that day by accident, do you think you would still be doing what you're doing today, or you would be in a different profession?
Well, that's a hard question, but that's a good question at the same time, because most people do interviews when ask that question, you know, so it's hard to determine, because I was a sports fanatic also, you know, I played football, and music was like my first passion, and it just happened to came my way, you know, it kept God sent Victor Slick my way, and that's where I'm at now.
And also, as we already know, you were a member of the South Park Coalition, but I was wondering, what's the story behind that group, and of course, how did you become a member?
Well, the story behind that was hard individuals that rap lyrically back then, you know, in the 80s. Different schools representing talent shows, you know, doing talent shows, going to different events, battling other MCs who thought they was harder than he was, and one school just stuck in our head was K-Reno, because he had to go through many people at my school, just say Jones, you know, my school was me, Gangsta Myth, Klondike Cat, you know, R.C.A.C. Chill, you know, some other guys, you know, was doing it, and K had to come through that, man, and me and K got real cool after the last battle of him and Gangsta Myth. We spoke a couple of words about certain things, and we graduated before K did, Reno did, and he put the coalition together, Southport Coalition together, and some of the guys he was competing against became some of the first guys in the Southport Coalition, so that's how I actually got into it.
And I remember as well, I think it was like early 90s, I think it was like 93, 94 criteria, but I remember hearing your debut on Stories from the Black Book on K. Reno's record. I think that was your debut.
Well, that was off Warren South Park. I had music before that, but that was like in 91, Warren South Park. But like I said, at the time, I graduated in 86, and me and Victor Slick was really popular, you know, as a group. We was real popular. And it wasn't a Murder One then. I was lining up back then. So at that time, we was following the radio. Whatever the radio station had, one of the DJs kept us in the competing, and we did that until the coalition got kind of escalated like in '89 when it came out with CKOR-DB. and that's when they formed the coalition as a whole then.
And I gotta say as well, Murder One, I really think that if you wouldn't have joined S.P.C, it would have been a different feel and a different vibe, man, because you have that very distinguished voice, man, that really brings a lot to the table for the group.
Well, they do, and for me being a part of Southport Coalition, I actually changed the style I was using in the early 80s to fit in Southport Coalition, because when we came together, we had number lyricists. Believe it or not, I was actually a lyricist competing back then in the early 80s. But at the same time, when you get an organization full of lyricists, I had to find my identity to stand out, and that's where Murder One came from. So after Murder One came out, that's gave me my debut off War Southport, But besides that, I had music underground before that.
And also, in 2002, S.P.C actually released Personal Vendetta. I was wondering, what's the story behind that iconic record? And of course, is it still available on the internet to be purchased today?
Yes, well, I'm going to answer the last question. Yes, you can purchase that off of SouthportCoalition.net, and all our music, my music, Gangsta Music, everybody's music in the coalition is still on that website, and you can't get that. And the story behind that was, I had a name in the gang, in the music gang. Kay had it, and we had a lot of people in coalition that wasn't getting the recognition. So Ken and us got together and decided we'll invest the money ourselves. We exposed the artists who wasn't getting exposed. We did some features with some of the guys that was already in the game, like Blank and Nip and Cat. We had to do that. It was only right, because even though it was our project, but it was a Southport Coalition project with the up-and-coming guys that you never heard the names of, or you did hear the name of, but you never heard their music.
And also, before we move off the topic of S.P.C, the one thing I did notice while I was doing my research for this interview, and I was actually astonished to realize that I noticed on the website that you guys have over 70 to 80 different members within the S.P.C. I was wondering, what made you guys decide to grow such a huge coalition? And of course, how does one actually become a member?
Well, first, we have almost 200-something members by now. But really, to become a member it's your grind. You don't have to be an artist to get Southport Coalition. We have a lot of members in Southport Coalition don't even rap. We have people that do paperwork. We got people that go out here and pass flyers and promote. There's so many people that does different genres in our organization, and you see the work. You only reward them from their work, and that's how they become Southport Coalition members.
So I gotta say, everybody, if you're listening, you know what I mean? Keep your grind up, because you never know what opportunities may arise.
Most definitely, because that's all we did. From day one, besides Gangsta Nick and the Terrorists, and we supported and we invested in our own music. We never had no financial backing. We backed our own stuff because we were determined and our grind was positive. So we never sleep. This business, you lose relationships, you lose friendships, you lose kids, you lose all kind of things, because if you're grinding right, you won't eat tonight. You know what I'm saying?
And also, in 2003, Murder, you actually founded your own record label called Overlooked Records. I was wondering, what's the story behind that label? And of course, who else do you currently have signed to you today?
Well, actually, Overlooked Records was I processed that like the early 90s, because, like I said, we financed our own thing. When we dropped CKOR-DB, the label was Radical Records at that time. Was going to actually put out all the Southport Coalition members, but it took a curve. So I was DJing clubs, man, and so I was really doing a lot of putting albums out. I was just doing more, making money out the clubs and DJing for Gangsta Music, and doing hype man for K Reno and being sound man for any Southport Coalition member that's performing. And I was doing all that, and really it wasn't my time then. It was my time. I did features on a lot of it, which was turned out great because I established a name that way. turned out Overlook Records came because I didn't want to depend on nobody else. And, really, Overlook Records was more like Victor Slick. If you want to come, you can come on my label. It's really not other artists. It was basically determined and made for myself.
And also, when you said you didn't want to rely on anybody else, man, that was actually a great decision, because I know, like mid-'90s and whatnot, a lot of record labels were really taking advantage of artists like yourselves, man. So sometimes it was always best to start your own label.
Yeah, it was. And like I said, me and Reno used to talk about it all the time, that if we win, lose, or draw, it's our decision, and it was a choice we made, and we can't be mad at nobody else but ourselves, and we got screwed over with it on the situation.
And also, I noticed you did some great amount of work with an individual by the name of Washoff. I was wondering, how did yourself and Washoff get connected? And of course, do you guys have any new projects currently in the works?
Yeah, well, I've been knowing Wash like early '90s, and Wash was another guy that didn't get no recognition. And when I met him, he was also DJing and doing a lot of recording, because Wash also has his own recording. He had his own recording facility when I met him. And what happened, we become good friends, and I felt that I could offer him what I gained in the game. I respectfully have a name, and I just put my hands out and tell him, let's do this project where we get your music from the house to other people's hands. And so it came with that. I came with the name, Good Element. Watch produced the first album, and I kind of gathered some of the Southport Coalition numbers, and I put them on there. We did the second one, and that came out pretty good. That was Good Element. Well, the first one was called Hood Element. The second was called Hood Element Reloaded. That was like a more EP. And Watch had a downtime. He had he had a little illness, and so I kind of started doing my solo project and featuring on a lot of other music. And now we get ready to start another project, another Hood Element. I don't know if it's gonna be 3 or what it is, but he called me one day. He told me he got all the beats already.
And I remember back in the day when he was on Reverb Nation. I don't know if he still uses that anymore, but I remember when he dropped a record by the name, I think it was called Life of a Gangsta. And I have to say, I remember you were on that and a few other S.P.C. members, but I have to say that album was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, well, Watch, he's a worker, man. Watch it like now. He goes in and out of the game, but when he go in the game, he probably record 3 or 4 albums before he stop again. That's the thing he do. But he had more than just one album. Watch that probably about 7 or 8 albums, and then he put out his nephew, Donald D. He put out a friend of his, his wife, All Nick. He did some more projects. Watch. A lot of people, people sleeping on Watch. Watch got a lot of great music. He produced a lot of projects, and also he recorded all the projects himself.
And also as well, I noticed that one of my favorite records by you that I knew I had to bring up, it's actually on the promotional flyer for this interview, but it's actually called Game, Given All My Experience. The one thing I've always wanted to know was, what's the story behind that phenomenal record there, Murder? Because I got to say, that's one of my favorite solo records by you.
Well, actually, Game is not really finished. My last project is, and you make me think now. It wasn't Game. Game is the one I'm doing now. And I had a song called Dirty Game off the last project.
That's the one I was actually speaking of. My apologies.
Yeah, no problem. No, man, Game is a great album, because everybody learns that my last one, Dirty Game. They loved it, and Reno came with the analysis of one of his songs, and he was spelling acronyms and stuff like that. And so he did, giving out my experiences. I said, look, I've been in the game over 30-something years. I got a lot to talk about that defines where my mindset at. And I have featured some DJ Premier on it. I have featured some Big Pokey. I got Power Walls. Man, the list goes on. The Razzcast. And so I got the East Coast, West Coast songs on it, man. I think when I drop that, it's going to be real great.
also, another one that I actually read about was actually on the S.P.C. website, and it's actually available for pre-order, which is a 30th anniversary compilation album. And I was wondering, what can our listeners expect from that record when it does drop? Because I gotta say, that album absolutely sounds phenomenal. Like 30-year anniversary, you can only imagine what's gonna come from that record.
Well, first I want all the Southport Coalition fans to know this album is all original Southport Coalition. It's not some of the guys came later. It's some of the guys who helped build the foundation of it. And it's gonna be great. I got original songs. The Terrors gave me some nice heat. I got the Terrors. I got Gangsta Nip. I got Point Blank. I got PSA 13. I got Take Reno. I got I'm trying to find this one because I'm trying to release this album on the 25th. That was this month, which would be my birthday. And I want to find this one song I'm missing, AC Chill. And cause I try to keep AC Chill name alive because when he passed, it wasn't no social media or nothing like that. And so it's on a word of mouth to keep his legacy going. And that's why I try to do every compilation that's what I.
And I have to ask you as well, is this compilation record going to be available for hard copy as well? Because I do know that nowadays some artists they're really just switching all their catalogs to digital.
Oh, we do both. We still got people in my hood love hard copies. And not just that. Our overseas fan base and all that, they still want hard copies, and they still buy hard copies right now.
Most definitely, everyone. So make sure you all head on over to southparkcoalition.net and pre-order yourselves a hard copy today. Don't sleep. Get it or you will regret it.
That's right. Most definitely regret it because I put a lot of energy. I try to do a lot of. We still do original beats. We don't try to sound like nobody else. It's the 80s and 90s Southport Coalition. You fell in love with it. It's the same thing you get.
And also, I noticed as well that you actually have your own radio show by the name of Coalition Ambush. I was wondering, what actually made you decide to venture into the radio side of things? And of course, where can our listeners actually catch your broadcast every single week?
Well, they can catch it at www.kpft.org, and you go to AC2 every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. to noon, or you can go to archives and put Coalition Ambush. You get all out anything we have, or you go to Mixcloud and put Coalition Ambush. You get it that way. So what made me do that side, I was always a part of that side. I just never put my energy into it because it's a lot of work, And like I said, the record labels and. I just don't do my label. I have K Reno, whatever he needs me to do. I have people in our organization. It's just not my own thing I do. And like I said, I was DJing clubs. I told you my dad was in that part of stuff. So I like, how could I give back to the community, independent artists, underground artists, and how can I give back with a less amount of money, So my thing was I started me and DJ CMC, he's a fan from way back, and we got together and we had the same thing, the same common ground of trying to give back to our community and underground music, because that's what we love to do. And we just came with the Coalition Ambush, man. We've been doing our thing, and we're giving local artists and independent artists a platform now.
And I gotta say, it's also good giving back as well, because unfortunately, with today's society, not a lot of radio stations or anybody really cares about real hip-hop. All they want is that bubblegum, skinny jean type stuff that's all over the FM dial nowadays.
Well, I learned to respect all genres of music now. I don't have to like it, but I do have to respect the energy and the time they put into it. But like the Coalition Ambush, we don't play the mainstream. So we don't play. Another thing we don't do, we don't play curses. So if you got good music, you come to us. We have to have no cursing. No cursing, no N-word, and we give you a chance. If we say you one time, that's better than what you're gonna get off the mainstream. So that's a platform we have. But our platform also is based on old school artists and we do mix in the new artists.
But I have to ask you, Murder One, like, what is next for you? Is like there anything I missed during this interview? Anything else you still want to promote? We still have you here live on the Canadian airwaves.
Man, I mean, me and my DJ still, putting our time together, and hopefully we have a show on your station, supporting you and the Canada platform and giving some of our music. We right there. We just our timing. We got to make sure our timing gonna be right, because this is a great thing just not for Canada. It's a great thing for Houston to let Canada kind of know it's still some underground artists have good music out here, and also the platform of Canada to support our station, because we can be playing Canada music also be underground.
I gotta say, I'm most definitely down for it. I know we were speaking about it on the phone, so whenever you guys are ready for that, you already know, call my line and we most definitely will set it up.
Well, like I said, I'm actually really, like I said, I didn't really want to do the radio because there's so much work in it, but at the same time, I get so much joy from it, helping another artist. If you really support your craft like you say you do, I want to be a part of history again. I'm history now, so and to help somebody else, I just add on to my history.
And that's true, radio is a lot of work, but it's very rewarding at the end of the day, just being able to see the joy in people's faces. Like, there is some individuals out there that don't appreciate it, but it makes it all the worthwhile when you actually run into an individual that really does appreciate what you do.
It does, because like I said, CLC never stopped. And I told CLC I have a lot of DJs want to be a part of the coalition, Coalition Ambush, and I haven't stopped that because the simple fact is I wanted somebody that knew hip hop. You know what I mean? From the beginning to now, that respected the craft, respected what people gave, and not be judgmental to other people. So CLC came in that way. Like say, I actually was we had like an underground record label back in the day, and me and CLC was on the same label. He was acting in the group with Greek from Southport Coalition. So CMC, DJ CMC, he was an MC then and a DJ, but he wasn't just he just didn't come out of nowhere. A lot of people were like, who's CMC? They didn't know him. But CMC kind of took the turn where we were taking chance at the music. C had to take care of the family of the music. So now he's back hungry, and he's taking chances with his family supporting him, and that by him getting supported, that support me with the idea, and that's the Coalition Ambush.
And I gotta say, I've checked out your broadcast as well, and I gotta say, you guys have a top-notch radio show as well, man. Like, I really enjoy listening to it.
I do too. It's so crazy. I'm still learning. I'm getting better. But the station we own is a local independent station here, KPFT 90.1. We got on it, and when we got on it, we really can't move forward further as we want to go because the COVID came. They shut us down. So right now we can give what we have now, but it's a bigger platform that they gonna offer us once everything comes clear. But right now, I'm still learning a lot of this stuff, and I'm learning good because I do person my rap, and to have a show like person, that's a challenge, and I love challenges anyway.
And also, Murder One, this is the time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to, but of course your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow yourself, your music, and your radio show if they're not already doing so.
Right, you can follow me on Facebook on M1 M-O-N-E S-P-C-T-H-O-M-A-S. You can follow us, Coalition Ambush, join the friend thing on that, on Facebook. Also, you can follow me on Twitter on the S.P.C. Murder One, and also IG, that's Murder One, with the O-N-E on it, S.P.C. 86. We also got the Coalition Ambush Radio on IG, all the social platforms we have. I want to give a shout out to you and your station, and soon to be a part of my family team, soon the way it's looking, and for giving me the opportunity opportunity to talk about the Coalition Ambush and myself and Southport Coalition. I want to get the whole Southport Coalition. I want to get the whole Canada that rides with us, that soon won't ride with us, don't do anything about us, just give us a chance. And we'll be proven because we really critique about what we do, the energy, the timing, and the professionalism we're going to give. And, everybody who's listening and tuning in, man, I appreciate y'all. Keep supporting the Southport Coalition. You can get any of my music on southportcoalition.net, any social platform. We look out for the 30th anniversary. We look out for games. We look out for the hood element. We know just dropped the album, which you have him on tomorrow. Gangsta Milk. We just dropped the new album. So all that to say, you can go to southportcoalition.net to get that. And I also, Canada want to do features with me. I still do features to artists. I'm not taking all of them, but I take some of it though. I got to get rewarded for my time and effort. And I just hope that Canada is ready for Coalition Ambush. I call that. If it will happen, it will be Coalition Ambush from Houston to Canada. That's the name of the show.
Hey man, most definitely. I'm looking forward to that. And I gotta say, Murder One, thank you so much, not only for giving us some of your time, but also getting myself and our listeners connected with K Reno as well. So I gotta say thank you so much for that. And I really enjoyed this interview and being able to chop it up with an individual that I grew up listening to. It was an honor and most definitely a privilege, man. I'm looking forward to airing your show and doing business with you further in the future.
Oh man, I'm still working. I'm old school, but I'm a little slow, but I'm still working. So I ain't gone yet. Ain't no dirt on top of me. So I'm always willing to work if it's something positive.
Hey man, most definitely. I gotta say, Murder One, thank you so much, and most definitely have yourself a wonderful night.
Yeah, thank you and the whole show for supporting who I am and my 30 plus years in the game. Southport Coalition for life.
Hey man, most definitely. I'm gonna keep supporting for 30 plus years more.
We'll be in a wheelchair, but we'll still be holding it down.
Hey, most definitely. As long as you guys are keep making it, we here at Outlaw Radio are gonna keep spinning it.
Yes, sir, and we appreciate it too, man. Most definitely.
Most definitely, Murder One. Thank you so much, and have yourself a wonderful night.
You too, thank you.